Well, it is another wonderful day at New Beginnings Family Fellowship, and as I mentioned earlier, it's nice to actually have a snowy kind of atmosphere. We haven't had that much this year, but we did this last week. Thankful for that. Last week we focused on thriftiness, and one more time we're going to focus on thriftiness again, and we define thriftiness this way. It is preparing for known needs during times of plenty. And the individual we're going to consider is a gentleman from the Old Testament, New Testament named Gaius. Gaius. If you were in Rome, you'd say Gaius, but we English people say Gaius. Wise saving during times of plenty avoids self-indulgence, and it makes possible to distribute to the needs of the saints. When saving is practiced out of fear of an unknown future, it tends to produce hoarding and greed. The result is the heaping up of treasures, which God actually condemns in Psalm 39. But when saving is carried out for the purpose of meeting needs as God reveals them, it produces faith and unity among Christians. God illustrated the potential of such giving through the dedicated work of a leader in the church at Corinth. So how is preparing for known needs during times of plenty illustrated in Scripture? In 52 AD, the Roman deputy of Corinth just about heard Paul speak. An angry mob shoved a wealthy and respected citizen of Corinth aside and moved in to seize his courageous house guest. The assortment of confused religious leaders, misguided worshipers, and town rabble then moved to the main thoroughfare to the Roman judgment hall. The newly appointed Roman deputy, he came out to the rostrum and he listened to the frenzied demands for punishment and banishment of this individual. The deputy, he looked at the accused and recalled the bitter cup of public scorn that his own family had recently endured and would probably endure again. With sympathetic understanding, the deputy decided to protect the accused and his followers, whatever the views may be. Just then, the condemned guest, the Apostle Paul, attempted to speak, but the deputy interrupted him and said to the threatening crowd, and I quote, "If this were a matter of wrong or wicked lewdness, I would listen to you. But since it is a question of your own religious laws, I will not be the judge of such matters." He then drove them out of the judgment hall. The God-fearing host, Gaius, was greatly relieved. Now, he and other believers would be free to prosper in their work and their witness. His guest, the Apostle Paul, had risked his life to bring the gospel to them. How could they show their gratefulness? The answer soon came when he learned of a special need. A serious famine in Jerusalem was causing many Christians there to suffer hunger. How fitting that such a need would be met by citizens of Corinth. This very city was restored by Julius Caesar as a Roman colony to help the poor people improve their living conditions. Corinth was now the wealthiest seaport in the world at that time. In its times of plenty, the Corinthian believers and Gaius, host of the Apostle Paul, demonstrated thriftiness by setting aside funds for the famine-stricken Christians at Jerusalem. They set aside during their plenty to help those who had a need. Well, thank you for listening as we took a look at thriftiness one more time.